What's up, y'all? It's your boy Dap Dan in the building. I got a very special guest. She's a businesswoman, leader, a black queen. Give it up for Miss Labrina. How you doing, sister?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So today on the Black Evolution, we're gonna talk about a very special topic: black single motherhood cycle versus two-parent households. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's the Black Evolution. We changing lives, we changing the culture, we evolving. Let's get into it. So, Miss Labrina, before we get started, I just want to say it is an honor to have you on here on this great and fantastic podcast. And that I just want to say that it's an honor and a privilege because we get to talk about a very important topic today, which is the black single motherhood cycle, the conditions that surround black single motherhood, and the two-parent household. So I just want to say that it's been an honor having you on here. So
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me.
no problem. So let's get into this topic here with the black single motherhood. So I have to ask you a question, Miss Labrina.
Okay.
How do you feel about the black single motherhood cycle?
Um, if I'm being honest, I must say it's a very um unfortunate, stereotypical condition, if I must say. However, one thing that I've learned from being a single black mother is it's one of the biggest rewards that I could possibly have. Just being able to watch my daughter grow up and all the things that she knows and all the things that she learned, to know that I am the main factor in that is definitely like a gift from God. And coming out of my marriage and out of that situation, and at one point having a two-parent household that for my child, I must say that what's more important than anything is just being able to provide a safe environment for my child. And I feel like that trumps over everything else. Like, it kind of hurts, a little bit, or it hurt at first to be put in that stereotypical box, to be judged constantly, for people to kind of put this preconceived idea over me for being a single mother. But like I said, it's a reward, it's a gift from God, and I'm grateful. Like, I'm really grateful for it.
Well, Labrina, I understand you're grateful and everything, but in terms for me, how I feel about the situation is when it comes to black single motherhood, you can feel that way, but I feel like it shouldn't be normalized within our community as, oh, this is great,
Mm-hmm.
this is a fantastic thing, because a lot of things go into being a black single mother or living in that cycle. The school to prison pipeline, the poverty rate, the it's just it's just when it comes to the poverty rate. Speaking of that, do you know statistically that as of 2021, black single motherhoods they live in poverty rate of 29.3%? That is scary. 29.3% living on the poverty line, being a black single mother. It's just like when people talk about black single motherhood, it's just like they're not really dealing with the problem. It's just like it's become normalized in our community. And that's another question I want to get into with that is why do you feel it's become normalized within the black community?
Um, so if I'm being honest, I feel like that's one of the things that had to become normalized, as well as, I feel like that has naturally had to become normalized, as well as premarital sex has. Like, when you lay down with a person before you're married, you run into the fact of the matter that, hey, I could possibly be having a child, or I could get an STD or STI or whatever. And I could have, but most importantly, which is the topic that we're having here now, I could have this child, and I'm not married to this person. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like as as society has become, because our grandparents, or at least my grandmother, she was married before she was even 19 years old. My great grandmother was married at 14 years old and had her first child at 15 years old. So the normalization of sleeping around and laying down with people that's not your spouse before you're married at a young age, I feel like that just comes with the territory. The consequence of that is having a child out of wedlock, and then being a single mother.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of what you said, with the statistic that you had given, like I said before, like, it's a stereotypical situation to be in, and as unfortunate as it is, I don't think that it needs to be glamorized, nor does it need to be like, it's not okay, and it's not a situation that I feel like most women will want to be in, because if I had it my way, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here I wouldn't be a single parent if I had it my way. However, with that, and like I said, she is a blessing. With that, with life and everything else that you go through in life, you got to get dealt with the punches. You got to deal with what you got. And instead of me like moping and sad, because if I'm being honest, my marriage was a result of me feeling like I needed to provide a two-parent household for my child. Because in one instance, I had that. In another instance, I did. So if you don't mind, just a little background about me. My mother had me when she was, in her early 20s. My dad in his early 20s, and they weren't together. In fact, he was married, and he was married to someone else. So, as a result of my mother being on drugs and all of the things, my dad took me. But he didn't take me into his household. He took me into my grandmother's household. And my grandmother being a widow and being one to take care of other people's children, I was just kind of thrown in that. So I was raised watching a single black mother raise children, work 2-3 jobs, barely get sleep, stressed out. And then in the other sense, my dad, who divorced the wife that he had me on and got married again, and they had children together, being in that two-family household and watching how their kids grew up or whatever, it's the matter of the fact that that dynamic of that household was very much different than my grandmother's household. However, now my father has passed away. So his wife is now a single black mother. And as much as she, prepared her life for it to not be set up that way, here she is now a single black mother.
Yeah, and I want to say that it's a very unique situation, and that they grew strong. You grew in that family, that environment. You wanted to provide 2-parent household and everything. And I'm not taking anything wrong. That's the exceptional situation. What I'm talking about is the majority of black folks. And the majority of black folks, I feel like it's become normalized within our community, and it shouldn't be normalized. What should be normalized is the 2-parent household, the 2-parent structure, the family unit. And
But
and
but
what I'm
why?
saying
But
is,
why?
okay, let me explain. When it comes to the 2-parent household, the 2-parent unit, the family unit, it brings about great happiness for the mother. No longer are you stressed out,
Not
worried about that.
always.
Hold
Not
on, sister.
always.
Hold on, sister. I'm talking about the majority. You're talking about the exception. I'm talking about the majority. When it comes to the majority, it brings happiness to the mom, the 2-parent household, the daughter, the children, I should say, get to see the father, what it means to be a man, a strong, masculine man, and for and he gets to see the mom, he gets to see like, oh, this is who I should marry, and or I should basically have the idea of who I should marry, and date someone that's like my mom. But it brings about structure and family unit and strong leadership, and also when it comes to the statistics, black two-parent households, they live a better life versus people who don't have a two-parent household.
I need that statistic because well, I'm trying to, but I'm actually in Georgia right now. In the house that we're in a lake house, and I have very horrible service. So I'm actually trying to look up what is the divorce rate amongst the black community
I have the
because
divorce right here. I
I
have the
feel
divorce right here, sister. The
okay,
divorce rate is
okay,
30.8% versus white counterparts is 15.1 and Hispanic is 18.5. The divorce rate in the black community is an all-time high. And when it comes to the black community and the family unit and the family structure with a two-parent household and two-parent families, children typically have access to more economic and community resources because the parents are able to pool their time, money, and resources into the child and everything. And also, look at the statistic, look at the market. I'm just looking based upon the market now. The market now, literally, in order to have a house, in order to have a car and everything, in order to have a family, you literally have to have two incomes. It literally depends on people having two incomes versus a single mother or a single parent household. You're more likely to go in the poverty line versus a two parent household poverty rate. It is, as of 2021, with black married couples, it is 7.2% versus that same year, it is 29.3%. So it's a higher rate. So statistics prove that when it comes to two-parent households, you are less likely to go into the poverty line versus a single mother household. You are more likely to go to a two-parent household. And also, when I say
like now I understand what you're saying as far as like economic wise when you have two income household, yes, the resources, more resources are there, what have you. However, in my case, in my situation is very different than most single women because I didn't grow up with my single grandmother. She wasn't on welfare. We didn't even get food stamps. Like I had to pay for my lunch at school. You see what I'm saying? So I grew up with the idea in the notion of that's not how you live. You don't live dependent on welfare. However, I have witnessed where plenty of women do, and they look forward to tax season and being able to get this massive amount of refund, or get this massive amount of food stamps at the beginning of every month, or get this amount of the governmental assistance that come. Like, you get Section 8 where you can live for free. You get food stamps where you eat for free. You get Medicaid where you can go to the doctor for free. Like it's a lot of benefits that come with being that single parent or being, below the poverty line. However, what's more important to me than any of that, and I'm speaking of me now, I can't talk for everybody else. Speaking for me, what's more important than any of that is my child being at peace, my child having happiness, my child being able to say, you know what, my mama is happy, my mama, provides for me and she gives me the best version of herself. Because when I was in that marriage, remind you, like I witnessed a divorce at a very young age between my dad and his first wife, who was like a mother to me, And when I got married, my daughter was a few months old, and I promised myself that I would do everything I could to make sure that my child wouldn't have to endure that heartache, that pain, like it's very traumatizing. I promised myself that I would not put my child through that. And I did. I had to get a divorce because the version of myself that my child had to get, it was damaging to not only myself, but to her. For her to watch me get beat on, for her to watch, like, yeah, we was taken care of. Like, no, I didn't have to work so much. Yeah, I was present more, but I wasn't the best version of myself. And for me, that was more important than providing the two-family household. So to go back to what you were saying about, the poverty rate and living on welfare and all of that. Yeah, you're absolutely right in that. Where a lot of women, they do depend on that and they look forward to that, and it's almost like they have kids that have enough age gap that when that first child does turn 18, that they can, they have another one to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? So I do agree there, and I also agree that it shouldn't be normalized and it shouldn't be praised. However, I just feel like with life, you never know how your cards are going to be dealt, and I just really, really, really like me being an advocate for women rights and women being able to stand up for themselves and stand alone and not needing to make like not having to take crap from a man to say that you're not a single mother. Be the single mother before you be the miserable mother. Be the single mother before you be the abused mother. Be the single mother before you be the battered woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that is what's more important. However, work your tail off so that your child don't have to live on welfare. Work your tail off so that you don't have to depend on food stamps. Work your tail off so you won't have to spend time going, because although the welfare is there, it takes time to go down there and fill out the applications and Like I just recently went and applied for food stamps and got denied because I quote unquote make too much money. If you ask me, I don't feel like I make enough to survive. Would I like another income in my household? Yeah, but at the same time, the priority is making sure we're taken care of. That's more important than me trying to find a spouse so that I won't have to fall under the stereotype of being a single mother.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about how important it is for the children, and I feel like how important it is for the children to be happy. And for what I'm saying is, I understand that, but at the end of the day, you still have to have the child to be happy and have joy and have peace of mind. And I feel like the child will have more peace of mind when it's a two-parent household versus a single motherhood household. Because let me tell you, since we got personal earlier, I'm going to be personal and kind. When I was younger and everything, when I was born, my mom got married to my bio dad, and something happened. I'm not going to go into the details. Things didn't work out. She was a single mother raising me by herself. So I've seen the stress. I've seen it. They stressed out. I've seen it. And, she stressed out. I've seen it. So it's like, then she got married to a high school sweetheart when I was 9. And they created a two-parent household. And they're my siblings. So I can say it is better to have a two-parent household, a two-parent structure, because the child can be more free and everything. It brings happiness and uniqueness and everything, and it just brings overall wholesomeness with the family, where it's just like the two-parent household, two-parent structure. I'm not saying my mom didn't do the best she could. She did the best she could. She even went further and beyond and did the better than the best. But what I'm saying is with that, when a woman has a man in that two-parent household structure, it brings closure, it brings peace of mind. The woman is no longer stressed out, and it is better for the child because the child gets to live, gets to have more economic things, gets to just live life and not be worrying about their mama and they're struggling. And I'm just saying, I'm tired of seeing the black single motherhood norm. I'm saying the black single motherhood thing is normalized. I'm tired. I'm just tired of seeing that being normalized within our community through the media, through TV, through people incentivizing that. And it's like, that's not good for the children. That's not good for the woman. That's not good for a black family as a whole. What's good for the black family is the two-parent structure, the two-parent household. The two-parent household is less likely to be in the poverty line than the black single motherhood.
Okay, so you keep taking it back to economics and you keep taking it back to poverty. And yes, I did hear your statistic earlier. However, you got to think about it in the sense of this is mindset that we're talking about. This is all about mindset because there, just like there is women out here that, like for me, and give me 1 second. Let me get my child up now. So me when I was before I had my child, I would always say, before I have a kid, I want to be married, and I wanted us to have $100,000 in a bank account for our child. Right? That was always what was said. That was always my goal. However, life didn't happen that way. And unfortunately, I was taken advantage of sexually by someone who was a previous sexual sex partner that I had. And this particular night, I didn't want to take it there with him because it had been months. It had been months, since we took it there. And when I got to his house, there were some things there that I wasn't comfortable with, and I wanted to go back home. He, in fact, did not take me home, but took advantage of me, the fact that I wasn't sober, so happy. You know how the story goes. 9 months later, I have a child. So with that being said, like, from the time I found out I was pregnant, I was pretty far along when I found out. But from the time that I found out I was pregnant, up until I had my child, like, my goal was, because I was seeing someone at the time, we weren't serious until further along in my pregnancy, we decided to settle down. I married that man. That was what I thought. Okay, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the thing. However, it wasn't. But the fact of the matter is, I had the mindset that I want to provide the best life possible that I can for my child. So with that being said, I took the option. I made the decision to step away from that marriage. Now, economically wise, you're absolutely right. We could have been living in a mansion by now with the money that he makes, the money that I make, because, financially, we're good. Me and my daughter, we're good. But that's because I have the mindset to be able to provide my child with the things that I did not have growing up. To be able to provide my child with not even like the nice things or, name brand or whatever, but just that she has all the things that she needs, her own room, her, she's 4 years old, she got a dang on cell phone that, iPhone 13 Pro, you know what I'm saying, like, my child is taken care of. However, like, if I was with my ex-husband, we would be in a much better financial situation. However, like I said, peace-wise, mindset-wise, that was way more important than that. And my child wasn't happy. Like, yeah, she was only 2 years old when we separated, but my child wasn't happy. She didn't want to be at home. She would rather be at grandma's house than with me. Because the version of me that she got wasn't authentic, wasn't safe. She didn't feel safe. And to be honest, I didn't either. And I know that that's not every situation, but what I want to, like, I agree with you. It shouldn't be normalized. However, being the broke single black female, that's what should be single. That's what should be normalized. I have a cousin right now. She's a millionaire. She does Bitcoin or whatever that trading or whatever. She's a millionaire. You wouldn't know it if you met her, but she has 2 children, and she purposely had 2 kids to be a single mother for. Do I agree with that? No. I feel like she should have met the spouse, then had the kids. You know what I'm saying? However, her kids live a great life. That's what she wanted. That's what she chose. And if that's what works for her household, her kids are happy, by all means, do y'all. What I feel like is what's most important here, more than anything, is not being on the poverty line. Being able to rely with your child. Take the punches of life, whatever happens, and running with it. Like I had said on social media, like, being a parent is a blessing. Being able to have a child, being able to watch a child grow up, being able to watch literally a part of you grow up to become great things, the different things that they learn, the different things that they can do, all the many different things that go into being a parent. That's awesome. But that shouldn't be demoralized, or something shouldn't be taken away from me because I'm a single mother. I feel like I should have just as much joy in being a parent, being a single parent, as I was when I was married. Because if I'm being honest, yeah, we look like one big happy family. Yeah, we look like we had our stuff together, but we didn't. We did not. I went home miserable at the end of every day. I didn't have the church looking at me like I was crazy. I didn't have people judging me, people putting this preconceived notion over my life. I didn't have that. But I tell you, I sleep so much better at night now than I did then. I tell you that my child is much happier now than she is then. And that is what's more important than anything else. I don't care if me and my daughter got to go live in a cardboard box. We're going to be out in a month. I'm going to work my ass off to make sure that that's not the case, because I've done it. I've done it. When my ex left, I was almost certain that we was going to have to move out the house. And you know what I'm saying? But I did what I had to do to get done. You know, Daniel, I took my daughter to school with me. Yeah, I know people was talking mad junk about me. Then not she in college and da-da-da-da. Not, most people didn't even know who my child's father was because I didn't sleep around. I wasn't that girl in school that had a man or different men or whatever. People were shocked to even see that I was pregnant, because that's not how I get down. So with that being said, to have society look at me a type of way because I decided to have this child, could I have had an abortion? No, because by the time I found out, it was too late. So I had no choice but to be a single parent. But I believe God graced me for this. God to be that child's mother. And, you know, in your situation, your mother was blessed to have met or to have reconvened with her high school sweetheart and to be able to create a family for you all. And you to have siblings. My child ain't having no siblings. She ain't getting no siblings. To be able to have siblings, to be able to, you know, like, that is a blessing in itself. But what would she have done had that not happened? You see what I'm saying? Like, what would she have done? Would she have created the best life for you, given the circumstances that she's in? Or would she have just moped around and went on welfare and just felt sorry for herself because she's a single black mother?
Yeah, what my mom did, and what I'm saying is, in terms of black single motherhood and everything, in my situation is, my mom made it a point to be like, what she said, I'm going to provide the best for my child and everything by also getting married to a man to provide that two-parent household, that family structure.
But
And I'm
what
also,
I'm
hold
saying
on. What I'm
has she
saying is,
not met?
hold on. What I'm saying is, when it comes to the two-parent structure and the two-parent household, and I'm talking about the majority, I want to talk about the majority of black folks, because my situation and your situation is an exception. It is not the rule.
But
What I
this is
want
what
to
I'm.
do is make it a
This is
rule
this is
to
what
have the
I'm majority.
two-parent household and the two-parent structure in our community, because I, for one, am just sick and tired of just seeing it throughout all our community. Just single mother, single mother, single mother, single mother, single mother, single mother, single mother. I'm
Okay,
like,
so let me
that's a
ask you this
problem,
though.
and we need to end the cycle.
Okay, so let me ask you this though. So you have a problem with seeing the single black mother. You have a problem with seeing that notion. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I understand it. But that, like you're saying, our situations is rare and your situation is rare. It's not that rare though. Like, it's and just like my stepmom losing her husband and now becoming a single parent. All these situations are circumstantial. Everything happens. And we, like, I seen a post on Facebook where it's like, I'm not having children so I can promise them both parents. Well, I've done seen it where women have lost their lives giving birth, and now the father is stuck raising the child, or vice versa. The husband dies while
Yeah, but sister, I understand these situations. These are
but this
exceptions. They're not the rule.
but
They're not the rule. We need to create. I'm saying these. I'm talking about the majority
okay.
of black
So if you're
folks.
saying that, then the rule needs to be no premarital sex. That needs to be a rule. If you're saying that, a rule needs to be you don't need to be sleeping around till you have
Yeah,
babies.
exactly.
Till you
Because
have
those create the conditions of black single motherhood, having premarital sex and everything. And and the response is a chance that, for me as a man, I could get a woman pregnant, and also for you as the woman, you have to carry the child for 9 months. And also, when it comes to black single motherhood, some people they always complain, well, these Negroes ain't shit. These nigga ain't shit. They talking bad about the person they laid down with. Well, I'm like, for me, I'm like, well, sister, if you say the man's a piece of crap, why'd you lay down with him? And it's like that needs to be a
because
rule as well.
for the most of the time they don't find out how bad piece of crap they are until after they've laid down with them. And I agree with you there. Like and only thing I can speak of is from experience because, if not, I'm not going to say this person's relation to me because it'll be obvious. But I know a lady who has 8 children by 7 different men. That right there is absurd to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's
that just
disgraceful.
makes
Disgraceful.
absolute and to me it's like, yeah, you're right, it is disgraceful. And it's people like that who make it hard for the rest of us because, my situation and your mom's situation before she got married and my stepmom's situation, it's all circumstantial. Like, this is just the hand that was dealt to us. But then you do have women out there who think that that is okay. But guess what? That's them. That's not going to take
Yeah,
away
and
from
all I'm
my
saying is
blessing.
you
That's
need to
not
have
going to...
personal accountability. People need to have accountability for their actions. And also, I want to say this: when people talk about the men ain't nothing. You gotta understand this. There are some men out there who are, I like to call them breeders. They just on purpose go out there, sleep around with a bunch of women, have sex with a bunch of women, and then on purpose say, "Oh, well, I'm not taking care of the children." I'm like, they need to be held accountable too.
Yeah.
It's all about accountability.
Yeah,
We need to
that's
hold
disgusting.
people
That's
accountable,
disgusting.
both sides, men and
That's
the
crazy
women.
you say that. That's crazy. That's crazy you say that because I'm on one of the social media sites and there's this dude out there. He got nine kids by 8 different women or something like that. And he was saying how he finds it absurd that the woman goes and put him on child support after he told them that he didn't want to have a child. So he offers to pay for the abortion. He offers to, buy the plan B after they, did what they did. But he don't like wearing condoms and he don't want to raise children. So in my head, I'm like, well, you don't need to have sex because you have then allowed yourself the opportunity to have your seeds walking around here fatherless. Fatherless. And that's the scenario with my daughter and her biological father. He straight up told me, go have an abortion. When I went to go have an abortion, that's when I found out how far along I was, and it wasn't happening. He was like, well, I know a place that you could go. It's going to cost X amount of money, but you're going to have to go through a surgical procedure. I'm not doing it. One, because if I'm being honest, like, I found out that I was pregnant 6 months after 6 months after I buried my dad, right? So for me, and not only that, I had a miscarriage when I was 18 years old. So then here I am now, I'm 21 years old. I don't have a dad. I never had a mom. And, like, I'm pregnant. Like, I'm getting ready to have a child. I'm in school. I just signed my school modeling contract for me to not be a parent right now. Like, that's just what makes the most sense. But then when I go to the doctor and, I had to get rushed to the hospital for medical reasons, and they hook me up and I get an ultrasound, I hear a heartbeat. This turns into a problem that I need to get rid of right quick. But if I didn't want to be that single black mother, this was a problem that I need to get situated real quick. And then it turns into a child that could show me that unconditional love that I so desperately was looking for, So with that, I just feel like, I get where you're saying, 100%. I get what you're saying. It should not be normalized, and it shouldn't be idolized. Put it like that. It shouldn't be something that we seek for. We shouldn't want to go have sex and not caring if I get pregnant or not. or, go sleep with a woman. I don't care if she gets pregnant or not. Like, that's so absurd and ridiculous and childish and silly and careless to me. It's ridiculous. However, I don't feel like it's fair for the people who are put in circumstantial situation to be judged or prejudged in the same scenario as these careless people out here that have children just so they can get the benefits of them. They raise them wild. They raise them careless. They grow up in the streets. They end up becoming drug dealers or prostitutes or, boosters, and they get in records before they're 12 and 13 years old. And this now we're entering a cycle where we have juvenile delinquents in the black community. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is why we get looked at the way that we do. We're no good. We're not about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all...
Yep, exactly. It's all about the image and the media, how they control that, and how they're trying to take us down. And I feel like it's about, we need to have accountability on both sides with the men and the women. Otherwise, we're going to continue to create these conditions of the poverty, of the school to prison pipeline, of this. So, and also, I want to ask you, the next question is, what created the conditions of the black single motherhood cycle? Because we talked about so far the circumstances and everything, individual situations, but we need to get to the root of the problem. And we won't be able to get to the root of the problem until, if we don't get to the root of the problem, it will never be solved. So what do you think created the conditions of the black single motherhood cycle?
The system, like we was speaking of before, the fact that you can basically live for free as long as you keep popping these kids out, and it's just that simple. And I feel like so many women, and I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna be honest, so many women feel like they could sleep with a man, they can have their child, and that's gonna keep them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many women, like, even when I was married, I had a woman come tell me, like, oh, that's your husband? Well, I got his child, so good luck with that. He gonna be stuck with me for life. Come to find out, the girl won't be pregnant. But so many women, like, they feel like that's something to get put up on. Like, that's what up.
It's a come up, basically. Like, it's a come up. They want to use the child as a come up. They don't give a damn about the child. And it's a come up like, oh, right. I'm going to have a child by a man. I'm going to keep the man. When he leaves you, he's like, wait, he's supposed to keep me. No, you thought it was going to work. It's not going to work. And also, when you said to your point about how it's the women and also the system, I also feel that way. But I also feel like sometimes it's the men too. Because what do these older generation of dudes tell these young men? Sleep around with a bunch of women. Have sex with a bunch of women. Be a player. You won't have no consequences. You won't get a woman pregnant. Have have a child out of wedlock. And it's just crazy. Like, I feel like that created the conditions of the black single motherhood. Because now you telling these young dudes, sleep around with a bunch of women, have sex, unprotected, and there won't be any consequences. Well, I hate that notion because, like, there will be consequences with that. It's just ridiculous. It's crazy. That notion and everything, that created the conditions of the black single motherhood cycle. And we need, overall, I feel like we need to end this whole black single motherhood cycle. That created the conditions with it. With the men sleeping around, not holding themselves accountable, not being responsible, having unprotected sex, And I feel like also the culture incentivizes that. Look at the media. These rappers rap and say, oh, yeah. I'ma knock a bitch down. I'ma sleep around with the bitch. I'ma do all this stuff. And then telling these young men, oh, yeah, it's cool, yeah. I'ma be a player, yeah. Have sex with a bunch of women, unprotected. It's gonna feel so good. That skin on skin gonna feel so good. That skin on skin gonna feel, you're gonna get a baby and you're gonna get a disease. And that's what people don't tell you with the whole cycle of just sleeping around.
The very disgusting thing about it is, it's like, we learned that in school. You know the consequences. It's just you choose not to. You choose to pretend like that's not the reality of the facts. Because I know a man, and Lord forgive me, because I said I wasn't going to discuss this, but I know a man who has herpes, He knows that he has herpes, and he lies every single day to different females about this condition that he has. Even me, I was one of the women that he tried to get. He tried to lay down with me. He tried to do that, but at the time, like, I'm celibate. You know what I'm saying? So I don't sleep with any and everybody. And he and I, we were talking, and we was trying to get serious. And I had the conversation about it with him, and I was like, I just want to see paperwork before I lay down with a person. I'm saying, I haven't had any sexual partners. So I want to make sure that I continue to remain safe because I have a child that I want to live for. And this man, he promised me that he was clean or da-da-da-da. But when I asked for his paperwork, the same night that I asked for his paperwork was the same night that he tried to have sex with me. And when I, literally, punched him, fought him off of me, once he realized that I was serious about not trying to lay with him, he backed off, everything was cool. I had to excuse myself for a little while, and then as we started back talking, I'm hearing rumors about him having, whatever, and I'm never one to listen to rumors. I'm always one to believe, because people have said things and spreading rumors about me. This is also a man that has 2 children, so I'm like, he has a daughter that's younger than their daughter, so I'm like, well, if he would have had something, the daughter would have, just really trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Well, kind of find out, I was able to, he had his, what's it called, my chart on his phone, and I was just in his phone one day, and I seen it, and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't lay down with you, but the fact that you were willing to lie, to have sex with me, but have unprotected sex with me, that's just ridiculous. And the thing is had I not been the strong-willed woman that I am, God knows how that situation would have ended. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you would rather lie versus being honest, because herpes is one of those things, as long as you take your medicine and you're being careful, you can be safe and still have safe sex. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're being careful. But you're being very reckless about this situation, and you're not caring about how you affect other women's lives. So then come to find out, the 2 children that he says he has, that he says that he takes care of, and, they just go back and forth between him and the mother, that was a complete lie. That was a complete lie. And his mother told me that. His oldest daughter lived with his mother full time, and the youngest daughter, her mom had filed for full custody on him because he does things like have a sexual transmitted disease or infection and not tell women. And he's careless, and he sleeps from one house to the next, to the next, to the next. And to me, it was just mind blowing to me that you was willing to, you did not care about my life or my child or my well-being enough to at least tell me the truth so that we can be safe. That was mind blowing to me. And in my conversation that I was having with his mother and some of his other friends, he's been doing this. It is the person that he got it from, which is also a male, does this. And to me, that's just mind-blowing that you could be that careless and that irresponsible. But the truth of the matter is, we're not all the same. I'm cautious and I care. Daniel, you're cautious, you care. I can tell just by the way you carried yourself in school that you're not that type of person. However, it's just, that's what we got to deal with. People would much rather lie and live in denial than accept the truth and be safe and not continue to be a part of society that screws up everybody else. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you on there. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. And also on the other side, you have men doing that, being breeders, as I call them. You also have women feeling like, ooh, you don't have to sex with that condom. You don't need a condom. They want to have unprotected sex, and they don't care.
I'm on birth control.
I'm on birth control. I'm on the pill.
I'm on the pill, and then
I got the stuff. I got the stuff stuck in my arm. I'm good and stuff. And then these dudes think, oh well, I can go in there raw and raw dogging, and turns out, whoops, a kid. I'm like, nah. That's why, for me personally, I hold myself accountable, and I have condoms. I got the Trojan condoms and everything, so I'm good. I'm good to go. Because I'm like, I'm holding myself. It's about accountability. Accountability. You got to hold yourself
Yeah,
accountable.
you're
You
right.
can't be going around here sleeping with everybody. And if you do doing that, wear protection. If you can't control yourself, that's what also I feel like it created the condition of black single motherhood. This also goes back to the '60s, because during the '60s it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And so during that time frame, during the
Yeah.
'60s, people were just having sex, going wild with it, and then boom, they popping out these kids. Then their kids feel that it's okay. Now they're popping at these kids. The government incentivized it with these programs and welfare and everything. They also did it through the media, calling black mothers welfare queens and all this other stuff. And also, even though during their white counterparts, it's more white folks on welfare than black folks, but they don't want to have that discussion. They'll just tell you, oh, it's just a black single
Mm-mm.
mother. It's the black mothers. They're welfare queens and stuff. So it's just like, it's just crazy. I feel like also the conditions where it's a black single motherhood, I created those conditions. The just rampant sex, having premarital sex, the incentivization by the government and the media, and just overall the mindset of people not holding themselves accountable. You got to hold yourselves accountable, both men and women. If you, as a woman, you know you can get pregnant by a man and everything, you need to make sure you need everything in your power to hold yourself accountable, be on birth control, the birth control pills, and the man needs to be wrapping it up wearing condoms. But some people, they want to be irresponsible. They want that skin on skin feeling and not realizing the consequences or don't care about the consequences, be creating children. And this also goes to my next point, which is with all this talk about single motherhood and the children, let's talk about the children. Do you feel like it's better for a child to live in a two-parent household or a single parent household?
Um. So, to be honest, I don't think that's a fair question because I feel like it's all circumstantial. I feel like it's all circumstantial because statistically speaking, financially speaking, yeah, a two-parent household that looks and feels better, yeah. But then you got to think. You got to think, and I know that you don't want to hear about the circumstantial situations, but that's I guess I'm just an overthinker. That's just how my brain goes because I do know those two parent households that are on welfare. I do know those two parent households where they're living with one of the other parents. You know what I'm saying? I know a two parent household. They got three little girls and they're living with their aunt in their aunt's attic with and that's a whole family. And to me, in my head, I'm looking at that like that's absurd. How is it two of them? How is it two of them and they can't even provide a place for their child, for their kids to lay their head? So I feel like in all circumstances, in the situation, it's all circumstantial because it's really just about the child's happiness. Because I guess I've just been through a lot of traumatic situations. I got an aunt that had 5 kids. My aunt, my uncle, they had 5 kids. When I tell you, I called them like that was the Brady Bunch. Like they used to live in this really big house in South Carolina. Going to their house would be like going on vacation. I looked up to them. I would always say, I want that. Like that's the family that I want. And not knowing what goes on behind closed doors, that woman ended up killing that man, shot him 3 times in the head, told him,
Ooh,
I can't have
Jesus.
you, can't nobody else have you. So now that's 5 children that's out here in this world without either one of their parents. Just that. They grew up. They grew up as babies and as young kids with the two family household in that great dynamic. But as teenagers, and the youngest one was like 8 or 9 at the time. They, their whole lives just got ripped apart. And in my head, now, as a grown woman, I was in high school when that happened. Now, as a grown woman, I'm like, what if they would have just walked away from each other? Instead of living in misery, what if they would have just walked away? What if they would have, instead of him feeling like he got to come home to his family every day, even though he wasn't happy, even though, you know what I'm saying? Like, your kids, they know that. They pick up on that. They feel that. They sense that. No matter how hard you try to hide it, no matter how hard you try to camouflage it, your kids know you in a way that nobody else in this world ever will. So, I don't feel like that's a fair question because it's all circumstantial. It's all circumstantial.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about the circumstances and how each situation is different. Each situation is, complex. But for me, when I ask the question is, I'm talking about the overall collective for the black community. The overall collective and how for us as black people, how we need to evolve our way of thinking, how we need to change our ways, how we need to end the black single motherhood cycle. I feel, in my personal opinion, it's better for the children to live in two-parent households because also you have to have the mindset too of, hey, I want to provide a two-parent house for my kids, and I want to love my kids and provide for my kids, and I don't want my kids to go through the poverty and the school to prison pipeline and be a statistic, another dead black body, or being a gangster or a drug dealer. It's all about the mindset and
Well,
willing
why
to
can't
hold
I
yourself
provide that for
accountable.
my child being a single parent? Why can't I provide that for my child single? Why do I have to be married in order to provide? Because unfortunately, like, don't get me wrong, I want to be married. I want my child to have a two family household. Like, and for the longest, I will always say, like, like, man, like, when me and my husband first separated, I would say to help me feel better. Like, I don't want no man. The last thing I want is a man. Da, da, da. Like, I would say that because that would help me, feel better about the circumstance that I was in. But if I'm being realistic and me being a God-fearing woman that I am, and me understanding the Bible, and me understanding that I am supposed to be a wife, and that I'm supposed to bear children with my husband, me knowing and understand that, like, yeah, I want that for my child, but if that's going to cause mine or her happiness, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I
And
understand what you.
unfortunately, I haven't found nobody that can do that for me. So that don't mean that I don't feel like when I'm providing for my child is the best, because I feel like she was a great life. I feel like she was a great life, and I feel like she has the best life that I could provide for her right now.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about how you want to provide for the child and you want to provide happiness for the child. But I'm saying for me and for the sake of the community as a collective, it's better to have a two-parent household structure because also this, you don't want to be
Cut you off.
stressed out like trying to be a mother and a father, trying to, stressed out. Women are like not built to have all that stress and just oh my god, I'm stressed out, I want to be a mother and a father, I'm trying to do this, trying to fill both the masculine and feminine roles. A man's supposed to be masculine, the protector, the provider. Woman's supposed to be feminine. Call me traditional. I'm a traditionalist. I believe in the Bible, and I
Yeah.
believe that the man is supposed to be the head of the household, the central pillar, and to protect the family, to provide for the family. And the man's supposed to be married with the woman and create that two-parent household structure because it's important for the child to see, oh, the father and what it means for a man to be a man, and for the daughter to see a father, a father being a leader, and everything. She can see, oh, this is what her husband's supposed to be like, a leader, a protector, somebody that provides for the family, versus also the conditions. Also, when it comes to the single parenthood, single motherhood with the child statistically, and also as for the majority, not for the exception, but the majority, it's just they go into if they're more likely to go to the school or prison pipeline. These boys go likely to go be in the jail. Women, with the daughters, they have no two-parent household. Some of the majority, most of them, they go to the, being, prostitutes and hookers and all this, looking for the wrong type of men because they got daddy issues and stuff. And it's just like for the sake of the community, as an overall collective, we need to have the two-parent household structure because for the children's sake,
I don't
we
agree
don't
with that.
want we don't want the child to be going to the school to prison pipeline and the hookers and the prostitutes and all that stuff. We want to provide that two-parent
I
household
don't
for
agree with that.
economics.
I don't agree. I don't agree because I feel like it takes a whole lot more than two parents being present in the household for that to be so. I mean, stare, statistically speaking, where you might have one, you still have the other. Like, It might be a two parent household. Oh, excuse me, a two-parent household, and one child, ends up being somebody great, and then the other child ends up being the exact opposite, because it's just so many, so many different type of dynamics of just that two-parent household. You got to think there are parents out there. There are two family household that has the husband that don't do nothing, that don't do shit, and the wife have to still pick up all that slack, and then have to put that big old smile on her face and pretend. And you see that more often than you don't. Whether they talk about it or not, you see that more often than you don't. And a lot of times you have people that grow up resenting the way that they were raised, because I had a two-family household, but my dad worked 80 hours a week, or my mom cooked, cleaned, and provided for, and worked on the household, but she never really loved dad. And, once again, these are all circumstantial situations. However, it all goes back to the point of it takes more than a two-family household. Like you said, it's a mindset thing. It's all in mindset. Because if my mindset is that I'm just providing a two-family household, then am I working on my marriage? Am I taking the time to nurture the child for them to grow up and be their own individual, or am I just trying to create them in my image and what I want them to be and what me and my spouse have aligned for them? How many times have you heard the scenario, well, my parents wanted me to become a doctor because they're both doctors, but I want to be an artist, and I go do dumb stuff that puts me in the system, and now I'm stuck in prison, and I have two praying parents that take me to church every Sunday. Like it's all a mindset thing.
I understand that, but at the end of the day,
that it's two people in a household.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, when it comes to the two-parent household, when it comes to versus single-parent household, when it comes, the fact of the matter is, single parents on both sides, because you have single dads out here now. They're stressed out.
Yeah.
They have to constantly worry about having and providing for the child. They have no help. So it's just nothing but stress. And the two-parent household is supposed to help. And statistically, economically, and the mindset. It helps the two parents come together and have that unity of just two parents coming together, taking care of the children, raising the children right, raising the children to be their own individuals. It's all of that. But I feel the fact of the matter is it could be more than a two-parent household. And also, when it comes to the single parent, I want to say this. When it comes to the single-parent household and everything, the reason also the cycle continues is because you have single mothers raising feminine men because they inherit those habits from the mom. Then they're going out there being hyper emotional, committing crimes, not having a father around, and it could perpetuate this cycle. And so that's why I feel like it has to have a two-parent household, that unity.
Okay. So let me stop you, because just like you're saying, what I'm saying in the scenarios that I'm saying that factors in two-parent household, you saying that a single parent, whether it be mother or father, being under stress behind, trying to make ends meet, that's not always the case. That's not always the case. And I've seen it where, let's just be all the way honest. Like in a society that we live in now, you can make more money with a YouTube channel than you can at that 9 to 5. Like that's just how it is now. So it's more than one way to skin a cat. Let's just put it like that. So the single parent could be providing that life for that child, everything that, as a baby up until they're old enough to start really thinking and expressing themselves. Like I provided everything that I wanted you to have when you were a child, and then now that you older and you want to do these things, I'm providing everything it is that you want for you. You're still getting a happy mom or dad. You're still getting the best version of me, and then you still have those healthy co-parent relationships where, like, okay, you come to mom's house and you may spend a week over here, and then you go to dad's house and you spend a week over there. And when you do get in trouble at school, if when you do get in trouble at school, okay, dad's gonna have to come over here and handle that. Or you still see your father getting up and going to work, or still praying and interceding for you, and you see mama over here at her house doing her thing. They're both happy. I'm happy. Hey, like I feel like it's all circumstantial. It's all mindset. I don't think that the two parent household is better than the single parent household. I think it is all circumstantial.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to agree to disagree because I just believe the two parent household is better, not just for the individuals, but for the community as a whole. I want the black community to evolve our way of thinking and to end the
But
old way and start the
there's
new way.
two family households that produce that are on welfare. There's two parent household that produces criminals. There's two parents households that let's be honest. A lot of the young men and young women feel like it's okay to get beat on because they watch their dad beat on their mom their whole life, and their mom sit there and take it with a smile on their face.
Yeah, I understand
The
that, but it's
sons feel
all
like it's
about the collective. We're talking about the collective here, not individual mindset. It's about the collective. As the black
that
community,
collectively
the single
we are
motherhood does
everybody.
not benefit the black community. What benefits the black community for us to have structure and unity is a two-parent household.
That's not true. That is not true because the two parent household can be just as jacked up as the single parent household. If not more, because now you have two personalities, two like it's not always the case. I feel like a two parent household can produce just as much. Like there's two parent households that's on welfare. There's two parents household as like I don't think we're talking about um we're talking about lifestyle here. I don't think that is fair to say what it produces as a collective. Now, where I do agree with you on is the mindset in, by being safe. Hey, if you don't want to take care of this child, don't go having children. It's that simple. If you don't want to provide what's best for your children, don't have children, whether you're married or not. I feel like there's married couples, neither one of them are ready to have children, so they need to wait a while before they bring in a child in a bunch of mess. I feel like it could go either way.
Like I said before, we agree, disagree. I have my strong convictions about for the overall community, as a collective, as a unit. I feel that the two parent household is best for the community. The statistics back it up. It backs it economically. But overall, my that's my final thoughts on it. The two parent household is the best for the community, even though there may be individual situations. I'm not talking about individual situations. I'm talking about overall as the black community. Because overall, we need to have a black community. Because when you have single motherhood being rampant, when you have single motherhood just running rampant within our community, it creates dysfunction. It creates chaos. This is how you have gangs running around here. That creates dysfunction, and vice versa with the certain
I
situations with
feel
two
like
parent households. But I feel like the
I feel
majority
like a
of
two
two
parent
parent
household
households
can have
can
just
be
as dysfunction
structured
as a
and have
single parent
unity.
household. I feel like a two parent household can have just as much dysfunction as a two parent household. I've seen it. I've seen it. And collectively over, like I'm from Winston Salem. You know what I'm saying? And when you go down to Salem Gardens and Cleveland Project and Piedmont Circle, yeah, you see a whole lot of single mothers living off welfare that's halfway raising their kids, so on and so forth. But then when you go on just a little bit up, to Shalimar and walk down the street or whatever, they still got single parents, but they're creating something out of their child. They're providing an example for their children. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like overall, we have to get out of the mindset of downing black women for being a single parent, because that is how you get the dysfunctional two-parent household. That is how you get a woman settling for something that is not what's best for her and her child, just so that she won't have to be in a single mother mindset, just so that she won't have to live in the same regard. It's just so she can live a little bit better, but live miserably. That's how you create dysfunction out of a two-parent household. And, you know, I've just seen it so many times in so many ways.
Yeah, and also how you create dysfunction with the single parent motherhood is the mindset and not holding yourself accountable and sleeping around with a whole bunch of men that you ain't got no business sleeping around with, and the men sleeping around with a bunch of women and not taking themselves accountable and creating dysfunction that way with the single parent motherhood and bringing that cycle.
Well, like you said, that's all circumstantial, because all single parents and all single women are not like that. I'm not like that by no means. By no means. Because if it was up to me, I wouldn't even have a child. Like, I'm just going to be all the way real. Like, even when I got married, I would have got a birth control. I was on birth control, married and all. Just because I'm sitting here thinking, like right now, like, yeah, we were once happily married, but now we're separated. How would that dynamic go? And once again, that's circumstantial, but all the examples that you're giving about single parent households are circumstantial, because not all women are like that. And I think it just all goes back to mindset, because even in a two-parent household, if you don't have the mindset to really raise your child with the best ability, not just trying to put on this front that you got the perfect life, but I mean really raising your kids to the best of your ability, y'all teaming together and working together as a team to raise these children to the best of your ability, you're gonna get dysfunction.
That's true too. But also, that's why I said it goes back to two-parent household. You have to have the intention with two-parent household, two people coming together, raising their children, providing for their children, and providing a better lifestyle. Versus a single-parent motherhood household, she can do all the best intentions, have all the greatest intentions, but sometimes they still may not be able to provide a better life for their children, be it son or daughter.
If that one or two they can, it's too many ways out here to make money to not be doing your very best. I'm sorry. And this is coming from, like I said, like, you can make more money on a YouTube channel than you can go into that 9 to 5. Like, as you know, like, I have my degree and I'm working in a field where I provide great money for my child. However, this Instagram money is great too. Like, the Instagram money is great too. It's all about mindset. Do I want what's best for my child? Do I want my child to not want for anything? Or do I want what's best for me? And I feel like that's where a lot of single parents go wrong, and where a lot of couples go wrong, or married parents go wrong. Is we're so obsessed with ourselves that we miss out on our kids. We miss out on the fact that they're not happy. We miss out on the fact that they're failing school. Hell, how many times do we see it where parents miss out on the fact that their kids are doing drugs or smoking weed or whatever? You know, like, it's all circumstantial.
I understand what you're saying, but I also kind of disagree with that, because when it comes to two-parent household, raising the children, taking care of the children, as a parent, in order to be a great parent, an excellent parent, you have to have the mindset, the goal, and the intentions of raising your parents with the best to your ability, with the two-parent household, two-parent structure, and not have this individual mindset, but thinking what's best for the child. And in my opinion, with the statistics, what's best for the child is the two-parent household.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Daniel. So how should me, being a single parent, that I provide the very best life that I can for not only my child but for myself, in the dating world, like I'm gonna just be real. Like, I'm dating. I'm in the dating scene. I'm out there. You know, how do I ask? I'm trying to ask. Like, how how do you think I should go about creating a two-parent household when I haven't found the right person that could come along and add to what I'm already doing, that can meet me on my level, that and these are just my requirements. Now I know this is circumstantial and this is me, but these are the requirements that I have when I date somebody, or when I'm in a talking phase before I go into dating or the courtship to even think about marriage. Um, I I make X amount of money, right? I need somebody that makes that amount of money or more. Um, just so that A, they won't be intimidated about the amount of money that I make, and two, so that we can do better. I can do bad by myself. I don't want to be with somebody where I'm taking care of him too. Like I need somebody because I'm a woman. I'm supposed to be taken care of according to the Bible. You see what I'm saying? So how do I?
Well said. To answer your question about providing and everything and how to provide the best lifestyle for the child, to answer your question, the best way to do so is find somebody that knows what it's like to have children and raise children, i.e., go for single dads, because they have the mindset and they know what it's like raising children. When you are asking a young man or a man in general who is single, who has no children, they may not have the mindset or the responsibility. It's a lot to ask of them to be like, oh, I have to take care of you and the child. That's a lot of mindset. And also, it goes back to, people think you should have been thinking about their decision before they make the decision. But for you in this situation, I would say go after a single dad who knows what it's like to be raising children. The two of y'all can come together and raise a family and create that two-parent household and the
That's
family
the
unit.
thing, though. According to the Bible, I can't go after a man. He that finds a wife finds a good thing, and it
Yep.
takes favor
Yeah,
with
I know
the Lord.
you can't
So
go
I,
find a man, but I'm saying is if you see a single dad and the single dad goes after you and y'all building a family, y'all building a unit, the two-parent household structure, that's the way you should handle this situation. Pray about it. Go be in the prayer, you know, and let the man find you, have it be a single parent dad who can y'all two come together and y'all raise the family unit in the two parent household. My final question to you is, with everything going on, with all that we talked about, with the conditioning, the mindset, individualism versus the group effort, with single mothers versus two parent household, how do you feel we can end this cycle of the black single motherhood and build a strong black community?
we have to start holding each other accountable. And that's just really what it all boils down to. And I say that because I've had to stop hanging around with people that have that mindset of, oh, if I have a baby, oh well, that's just more welfare money for me. I had to stop being around those people, and I'm surrounding myself with, like, I'm in a group, a sisterhood group of young women. We are all single mothers. We are all single mothers. And the thing is we encourage each other to date because, like I said, at first I was in a mindset that I don't want no man, I don't need no man, I will be all right. And then I had I got a relationship with God, and I understood that my job is to be married and to create children with my spouse. I understand that, and so I've had to surround myself with women that also have that mindset, but like I said, not to just be with a man because one of hello.
Yep, I'm still here, sister.
Okay, one of our sisters who's in the sisterhood group, she uh she has a number of kids by the same man, and she just had this mindset that Well, I already got X amount of kids with him, and I'm not talking about 2 or 3. Like, this is a good amount of kids with this man. Then I might as well go ahead and just marry him. And it took all of us coming together and letting her know, like, listen, what you need more than anything is peace for your children. What you need more than anything is respect for yourself and enough where your little girls can watch you be loved correctly. And then I have another sister. She's much older. She has boys. You know what I'm saying? And she has chosen to remain single until she finds her husband. She has been married 3 times. She's been married 3 times, and she's been divorced. She's still legally married, but she's not with her spouse anymore because she believed that the 2-parent household is the way it's supposed to be, and that's better. But she's had to learn that, I can't just marry anybody and expect us to have this happy home. Like, I have to find somebody that clicks well with my children, that has the same ambition and goals that I have for our children, like that. So, and then I have another sister who she's dating someone right now, and the guy that she was dating when we all first met, we had to encourage her to let him go because of the simple fact that he is not interested in your child like he's interested in what's in between your legs. So if he can accept the child that you already have, what makes you think he's going to accept the kids that y'all have together because they're his? Because I just feel like if he loves you, he's going to love anything that comes out of you. Like, that's your child. So he's supposed to love you. So just the different dynamics of our sisterhood, just holding each other accountable, letting them know, like, first of all, you don't need to be having no babies. The one sister that has 5 kids, she's talking about having more kids. You don't need to be having no more babies until you're married. Simple. Like, simple. And I feel like she does a very good job at the single motherhood role. But I don't agree with going to make a whole bunch of kids without a spouse, without a helpmate, without somebody to do it with you. You know what I'm saying? You got 5 kids, and like, you are barely making it. You need a helpmate. Do I need a helpmate? Yeah. Like, just because I only have 1 child, that don't make me an exception. Like, I do feel like I do need a spouse. However, what I'm not going to do is let society and the people of this world make me feel bad about that. The hand that I was dealt. So, hold each other accountable. Stop condoning premarital sex the way that we do. Stop making it okay. Unsafe sex. Not wrapping it. I hear so many people saying, "Oh, I don't like the way condoms feel." Well, you need to find one sex partner, and y'all need to get on birth control. Do something. Like, it's.
Yep, I feel like how we can end the cycle is this: the mindset, the people who can hold themselves accountable and take personal responsibility. And because, again, people having premarital sex is a choice. That's a choice. People choose to do that. You choose to do a grown act that grown people do. Some people do it when they're teenagers, 15, 16 years old, doing a grown act. You shouldn't be doing that. You should enjoy life being a teenager and stop trying to rush to be grown. So that's personal responsibility. Right. Men and women need to hold themselves accountable and have accountability instead of just sleeping around. Number 2, have the mindset of creating a 2-parent household structure. Not just for just doing it just to do it, but love each other the old school way, the traditional way. In Genesis, it says, "He that finds a wife have a good thing." For the man, he needs to find that Proverbs 31.
You can't get that part out.
And also, the 2-parent household structure, the man in Proverbs 31, it says that when it comes to the woman, they have to have a virtual woman. A virtual woman provides a man peace of mind, structure. Yep. He comes home after a long, hard day of work, and she's cooking for him and helping him out. Having that 2-parent household and structure, take care of the kids, bringing them peace of mind. Men need to go out there and find the Proverbs 31 woman and stop looking for these Jezebel, whorish women that's out here that's just sleeping around with anybody and everybody. You need to hold themselves accountable, personal responsibility, and ultimately creating that two-parent household structure, because not only do the mom need it, not only do the dad needs it, because you're raising a child, but the children need it. Think of the children. They can grow up seeing the two-parent household structure. They'll have better lives. The statistics prove it. They won't be in poverty. They won't be, under struggling financially, emotionally. They'll have the parents, the two-parent household will balance them out. It'll create a balance and the unity and the structure, and it'll overall help the black community. That's just my final thoughts on it. Labrina, Oxford, you express your final thoughts on it. I just feel like, hey, that's what we need to do as a community to help the black community and for black people to evolve as a people. And this is the black evolution. We're trying to change people. We're trying to change the culture. We are having black people evolve. Be conscious. Be woke. Tune in for more episodes. We signing off. Black power. Evolve.